everyone, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to see so many faces that I've seen around, like in Berkeley or New York or in Berlin, where we are living, some of us. So my name is Krasnoper, and in large part we are here today because Emily Brandt was passing through Berlin from New York, and I invited a couple of other readers, so it is really great to have this time to share our work. We'll have 4 readers, no break, I think. The bathroom is at the entrance. We have an open window, so hopefully there will be some air. So, but if you need to breathe out, you can go out and come back, hopefully. And we'll start with Katarina Gotic Damiani. She's the author of 3 poetry collections, We Need a Breathing Tongue Between, published by Kith Books in 24, Where Am I in the World, 25, and leerlauf, parasitenpresse, this year. She has developed a series of language-based works exploring translinguality, fragmentation, and the loss of mother tongues. Sometimes you also lose your second tongue. She's a PhD candidate in artistic research at the University of Applied Arts Vienna and lives in Berlin.
I feel like this is some kind of a barrier. I will just put it here. Yes, thank you all for coming. It's really nice to see you. Come in. Yeah. No, it looks really good. I don't think I ever read while people were eating. I wonder how that's gonna go. Maybe you can like do the bishtek.
What? You're in bishtek?
I never read while people were reading, so this is a new concept maybe. And there has been like this surge of like dinner readings lately in Berlin, so maybe we are doing similar thing.
It's a non-defense.
Yeah. No, that's great. Anyways, I will read from Leerlauf, which is an upcoming poetry book to be published by Translinguality at some point this year. We don't know still yet when, but yeah, let's see how that goes. Yeah, I will introduce the poems a little bit, but not really talk about them too much. This first one is kind of dedicated to a person that became really close to me kind of later in life and kind of replaced my father at some point as a father figure, and it's kind of a eulogy poem, so it's his kind of yard side now, not when I read it. Around the world, the largest things are tilted slightly. Think an ocean, ice cap, an S in rest, in sense, in others. If all that matters can be fit to tiniest words, such as you and me and all we know, there's a fear we'll lose them. Like them who walk became the walkers, and all we miss now being missed, or how he once said the universe a dot, and we all a dot in the eyes of others. But maybe he meant our language a dot now his home, or was it universe? Or language, or other, he meant. A foul footstep, faint and mouthful, shallow under the window. A hedgehog breathes like a human breathes, felt and rooted in all that's yearned for. To thread a needle, you close one eye and lick the end. Around, I spin a loop of undeclared length. The largest living organism is a network, yet we stopped before the century began. So please take off your coming of age stories, my coming to life stories, and come and see how bird I am. The home is my own, she says. I made it for myself. And there's enough of me to scatter among the scattered. There's enough of me to scatter among the scattered, so all back home can say we're scattered. Her time senses half a time. My plums are barely boiling. All that sweet, it must be habit forming. You take your fill, you fill the roots, overfill, spill everything. Now I too am full of words, you can judge me by my deserts. In your arms, skies hang like water, and water to a word is a word to a rock is a rock to a desert. This home is an orchard, see, always being missed appropriately. Your silence simmering, not to mention, a bird was all along. Now this poem was inspired by a very beautiful story that was told to me by a Croatian poet called Alen Brlek, and he was saying how he lives like in a small village, kind of very near Zagreb, which is the capital in Croatia, and he was in his house, and kind of very remote forest house, and then he heard this really loud breathing, and he was terrified. He was like, "Who could be here?" And it sounded like a human, like these deep breaths. And then he looked out of the window and he saw it was a hedgehog. And then, yeah, so this is why a hedgehog breathes like a human breathes, apparently. I've never heard it, but if you ever hear it, please remember the poem. This next poem is about a misunderstanding, and also about identity. So I'm Bosnian, and Bosnian, Croatian, Montenegrin, Serbian is my mother tongue, but we have many dialects, and one of them is the Zagreb dialect, and my family lived in Zagreb for a while, and then they were forced to leave when the war started. But there is a very beautiful word, čuka, in Zagreb dialect means clock or watch, and cuko or čuko is in Bosnian a dog, like any dog. So my mom told me the story about kind of replacing one with the other and being mocked for it. So this poem is about that. There's also some Ottoman Turkish in here. If running soils her sheet, her underwear, these words selected, unified in covers, a match to a mattress. I confess, there's nothing less alone than single, just and only. It is taken from a body, a ton, this word as an adverb. He is a far away and he is a no longer, yet he stuccoed a tree crown in Osmanli Natenane, a grey elif grown under. We painted it over light blue like any Westerner would, else if a color of hope, another place I'd see it different too. But you can't peel a blue, they say, the blue cannot be peeled. So come in, ascend, arise, come forth like the water does, then for all a wine dark sea. You've got the time, they ask, they don't let me keep it. This time is a dog put on a leash, it won't bite, it won't bark, it might run away. As always, running soils her sheets, her underwear, like laughing does, folded in wine dark sea. The color is blue, and you let me peel it. Like blue, a sea organ sings in sea. There are also these, it's a sea organ that, ended up in the poem. It exists in Croatia, in Zadar, which is one of the seaside places, and some sculptor made basically like a wall that has holes in it, and then sea comes into the holes and makes a beautiful sound, and the organ is in C. So this is very pretty coincidence. Yeah. Next poem. They're all untitled, so I don't have anything to say. Found love folded. We wound love like a birthmark taken for a beauty spot. I have a purpose to show you. To measure time, I cut a plant up counting. Days go by, so far and moving, and just a leaf ago I dove a star out. But then the other night my hands were long, so very long, they touched the stars and stayed with stars. I stroked the stars, now we're embracing. This line is for those who didn't dare but remember to. You can put it in a glass, but don't say it loud, don't wear it out. It is someone else that you'll be speaking. Like a meteor I stole from the corner of her wall, we find ways to attach ourselves. To anyone attached, this beloved day is a letdown. So keep the room warm, the rest is form. On and on and on and on. A star is a fallen star, a night falling. Her moon, they say, a whole another secret. And the last poem. To make herself as soft as soul, she lines cities with palms, stars with fists and jaws. She opens herself to 32 ways of looking at a motherland. 13. Among the stars in her eyes, for I did make her cry, she woke up being able. I believed her. We walked for centuries, must be. We walked for centuries, for land stands still, cannot appear, itself alone and sleeping. In a dream, she came to me, sang in key of sweet, of lowly, to kiss that what no longer is, what would you kiss? Aloud I swallow clouds and mark the edge of one of many, for maze above me, roses too, on and on and on and on. Her clouds I swallow, but with what soul? To imagine land, he reads home in snow, he sees snow in home, a winter as felt through a road camp. If all Tuesdays lean, today is a Tuesday. Again, the snow has fallen on blossom, on yield, our tongues as cold as lips we long for Aprils, 16 Aprils, 19 Aprils, and I so come to a fork, and we so come to a fork, but no people so set than left in November. To kiss that what no longer is, oh, I'd kiss the snow. Thank you.
Thank you, Katarina. And we continue with Emily Brandt, is a poet and interdisciplinary artist guided by ritual and somatic practices. Her work explores the psychological, embodied, and spiritual impact of binaries and assimilation. She's the author of the poetry collection Falsehood, as well as chapbooks. She's a co-founding editor of No Dear, curator of the LINEAGE reading series at Wendy's Subway, and member of the video art collaborative Temp.Files. She's of Sicilian, Polish, and Ukrainian descent and lives in Brooklyn.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ina, for having me. And thank you all for being here. It's the first time I've read Continental Europe. So exciting. I'm going to read just one poem from my book, which I have 2 copies of. This is called How To. The only way left for a girl to be radical in America is to camp in the woods for decades until she is ready to die, then build her own funeral pyre surrounded by stones and light it well. You are the genius of the ash heap, and everyone else in the woods, all of the scavengers, will mourn. And I'm going to read everything else from, if it can work out with my phone, I'm going to read from a new book recently finished called Rituale, and it explores Southern Italian folk practices, among other things. And I'm going to read 3 poems from one section of the book and then some poems from another section. And these poems Were all written in collaboration with something called La Smorfia, which is a Neapolitan dream interpretation system. And I wanted to demo it for you, but I'm not getting Wi-Fi. So like the way it would work theoretically, let's say, is if you dreamt, let's say last night you dreamt about a bear, and I might say, well, tell me more. And you're like, oh, well, it was dancing. Then I could tell you that that means danger of hostilities, and that you should play the number 6 in the lotto, right? But if you were like, oh, this bear was eating, then I might say, oh, that means you have a desire for novelty, and you should play number 10 in the lotto, right? If you're like, oh, the bear was dead, then I might say, that means that you are filled with understanding and altruism, and you should play number 19 in the lotto. And then you would go and you'd play those numbers in the lotto, and hopefully win. And I have gone to play the numbers in the lotto from my dreams, and I have not yet won. But I did start working in a poetic form where I take different images from the dream and the number associated I use to tell me how many words will be in that stanza, and then in that stanza somewhere is the Little Fortune. Okay, so I'm going to read 3 of these Smorfia poems. Read a poem, 6. Pining Anger, 69. Lower Your Head, 36. I thought reconciliation, but business proposition. Still, it was really good to see you. It was different than dreaming about. It was like that momentary infatuation that spiraled through a phone cord, that stamped envelopes full of flowers dried and spilling out, a letdown ground down into microfiber carpet, industrial beige, monotonous chain of mailboxed blocks. Come back, come back. I charred a yam, but the guts were sweet. It could really be that easy, friend. The horizon never moves your head, never moves if your head is down. Fickle love, this filial cell, a membrane of salt and sun, then funerary flowers and cell towers. No matter how far we row, this call gets dropped. Florida, 18. Water, 1. Peephole of the door, 59. Head south with friends, dog. Stay at a house, the environment surrounded by canals and endless bumps, pools. Desire, for what now? To escape, to where now? Discontent. Again, water all over the place. Some museum shows have peepholes to other museum rooms, the provenance of restlessness. What odd institutions, what stress caused by overwork, and the word Waverly repeated a lot without meaning, and the word desire embedded, and the word discontent squeezed again through the slot. Pregnant, 82. Empty, 85. The size of my belly, alarmed, excited, enticed, who knows? Consistency of inflated balloon, then cake soft. It's time to give birth, and this doctor believes in me 100%. Sure, there are difficult projects, like joint aches and blood months, mood flatlined. No one ever believed in me like this lady. My legs dangle, dangle. The examination table is as warm and as soft as a Belgian waffle at a chain hotel. And I am as warm and as soft as a Belgian waffle from Costco. I'm ready to deliver. Got the outfit and everything. I dislike the room and its instruments, but decide emphatically to trust with abandon. My hands and the doc's and several other hands, maybe 11 hands total, pressing my belly. Let's review the history of sonograms, doc. They're all blank. Hadn't we seen all along? Isn't seeing to know? Black film spools to the floor. 110 fingers stiffen. You are facing a change. Nothing to push out, but a slow hiss of air. And then the next poems I'll read are from the first opening section There's one for each day of the week in Italian, calling in a little ritual, and 5 are really short and 2 are a little longer. Lunedì, intend. New moon and damp air, I like it dank. Goddess worship always at the edges of empire. And bed slats stick like earth where they fit. A slow decline, not like decline is ever fresh. Such deep exhaustion, I cleaned off my mother's legs. Brave in some way, gorgeous, Gorgon, bound by blood, covered one eye, the other open, coiling stone cocoon. Martedi, shed. I hold steady against a wall, pointed cement flakes skin off. Each journey a potential loss or a delicate, fragrant gain. I scrape off my fingerprints. They were just dirty peels. Stucco walls make good goodbyes. That Jesus prick, so-called stigmata, signs too dirty to touch, sap pulse under the skin. A curved, hard abdominal metal, cooler than expected, less dead, almost able to hold it in, to press against or board the city bus. Nailed smooth, let this one, me, touch your plants. One side is so smooth. Mercolity, burn. Fire leaves a wardrobe, fast as I let rage kick across bridges, kicks across generations too. Kicks generations across bridges, to Brooklyn, to live, to tether, and die. Rage kicks back home like fire as wisdom, clasped hands so tight to get across conceived thresholds while walking or driving. But it's not walking if you are trying to get somewhere. Same for driving. Imagine just driving for hours to nowhere. That's driving. Imagine just driving back and forth across that burning bridge forever. Giovidi, divine. Strega in Italy is like a word for the witch. And every village has a strega, right? There's also a synth called the strega. Synth people. True story. The strega told my grandmother that my mother would lose her baby, and she did. I was looking intently at my right hand and slowly shifted eyes to left. It was there the whole time. A cat lopes through the tall grass. Vacant lot with light rain. Wait, there are 2. Energy, dance. If the beads of sweat on my face crystallize and therefore become the incarnated crystals, my crystalline mask would display the exertions that have thus manifested as blips in a soundscape of unrealized gain. Everyone here is hopelessly thin. I am praising the black clad. I am praising my gold boots. It's like a wedding with smoke. Giddy up and smoke and harness. Praise the cowhide jeans, the cheap vodka, and good DJ. The music is so serious, so very happy birthday, so tumbling and uncouth for an evening with such cute weather, they say. My sneakers are at home. This is so serious, like licking frosting off the fingers. First the index, then middle ring, pinky, thumb, pew, 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 pew. A chrysalis on pews, a slice in the spine of things, of clever repose. I project onto you that you are an oracle, and I am the stuck one. So tell me what to do, dear crystal, dear iris and pupil, dear great and rubber soul. The addincture here is toilet paper holder. What of America? Is that a clarinet, MDMA, a cotton poly bodysuit purchased from an Instagram ad, a crystal for your yoni to help you unearth what weight can do in tissue? Is this a dance platform or an uncomfortable bed frame? I consult my crystals, line them all up along the front of my spine from cunt to crown. They tell me some things. The beads of sweat are still as slam. I bless myself while everything shakes and stirs, equates and schematics. Collapse your tongue on me, friend. My purse is buried, so many garments now. I can't reach my wallet and charms, can't text you this dilemma and resolve. Dear Oracle, if I were 19, we would have all made out by now. I don't understand what you are saying, but I think I don't consent. These crystals are so serious, like music or sickness. I reach backwards and discover third hip, here all along. Discover kneecapped chrysalis of binary and grief, crack, pew. Sabato, bury. Quake a funerary procession. The stations surround Jesus' mother on her knees, other postures too. Pray to her, him, them. Pray to St. Lucy and Anthony. Pray to the Spirit, its fires, our Father, to the patron saint of grief, the saint of obstacles, of abstinence. I notice my feet have changed shape over the time. Blame my shoes. Think monotheism, meaning just one. Here the masses pray to three parts, Son, Father, Ghost, and then the Mother Goddess, and saints as numerous as dust. How do words get made? We've lost a woman loved. My stars said I crave a mother or teacher. They vibrate. I held my cat in my arms as he died, a spasm before his last breath, and then peace. And then Melissa came and we sang in Hebrew, and Sarah brought flowers, bright orange, and Eric and I slept, the cat's body at the foot of our bed with flowers and candles. And the next day we drove the body 43 miles and buried the cat in cold dirt after we wrapped the stiff body in a blue blanket from our bed, frayed from him catching his nails during life. And then we went to her house, another mother gone from this world of mothers. She said she was ready, but her children were not. When Jesus disappeared to the desert to meditate, I used to pay attention to sound. When Jesus disappeared for years to study, I pay attention to sound. When Jesus raised Lazarus, he did cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which he learned in the desert. The miracle of compressions. Consider the map of the circulatory system, and consider then the territory, the desert of blood, of organized cells and tissues that defy organizational logic, though we name it a pump and we glorify it till it stops. Someone said that dying is the removal of a too tight shoe. When the cat died, he stiffened in mere moments, and within a minute was stone. I thought of chicken thighs thawing on my mother's counter, and how they did not display rigor mortis, and wondered why, and I listened to the sound of the stone and meditated. Rigor mortis goes away. I conjure bodies softening underground and don't know what to feel. My sister's dogs ate her leather couch because how do they know which dead skin is carcass and which dead skin is couch? Somewhere on the map, my heart softens. How do I know what is shoe and what's foot, mother? A blister in the space between. And last poem, Domenica in Kent. The story of my love. By my love. The story of my body. By my body.
Amelia Ada is a poet working at the intersections of trans embodiment, autofiction, performance studies, and literary theory. Her first book, Hard and Glad, is forthcoming this October from Dopamine Semiotext. She lives in Berlin.
Hello. Thank you all for being here. I'm sitting on this. So I'm going to read 3 sequences that are not in the right order. I'm starting with winter, and then going back to fall, and then jumping forward to spring. Okay. Winter. What are your habits? Do you take your fingers and hold them secretly near the hair of strangers when you can, when you're close enough? Do you trace dots with your eyes closed? Do you pile dishes in the sink in beautiful, towering arrangements that you are loath to dismantle? Do you see there on the horizon a dark spot narrowing into itself like a lonely bird? Do birds know lonely? Like the poet wrote, I am making a descent. Maybe this is a feeling you recognize. I wake up late and fall through each day into the next one. Time passes quickly and darkly. Each chamber is more unfamiliar than the one before, yet all also seem vaguely expected, like I'm following a path I've read about. It would be helpful to have a guide in this descent, but he left me to take care of his mother, who is sick. They burn cardboard in his garden. I know because he posts videos of it. Large cardboard boxes without bothering to break them down. Cubes and rectangles of fire in the snow, white smoke. I think she is a hoarder. He puts music to the videos as if to pretend it is all a joke. But I know jokes. I may be falling unstopped, but I know jokes. Where I was egregious, something you can only see by leaving. Where I am is too, something only whispered in abandoned fields and dating apps. I type delicately. I erase, and having been, emerge. Here's a mystery. The King of Swords reversed. He invited me to dinner. He played a Kraftwerk CD while he cut lines. He wore a turtleneck. Here's a mystery. All these little stones in my pocket. Where did they come from? I take them on my tongue like words. Delicately. They even taste like stones. Okay, all right, this is still winter. Suppose I were to tell you that on the surface of the water, what moves not of its own will, but of the will of the water. Obviously, you'd say. But no, I'd continue, you misunderstand, for even the water has no will of its own. Its will comes from the sky and other secret tricks, like that we call gravity. In fact, there is not even such a thing as the water's surface. When we say surface, we mean what? A net? A film? An accident? Something we wish were stable, but is not. To this, you'd shake your head in a way that reminds me of my father, who is dead. What even is a surface? I'd continue anyway. One surface attached to another becomes a layering of surfaces. Surfaces all the way down. Then there is no such thing as depth. Depth too is a joke we tell ourselves. Splaying one layer of cells onto the next till we're sick and rake our skin away with our loofahs and devices through the bone, through the blood, until all that is left is desire, you'd say. Okay, end of winter. Fall. I step outside for some air. It is maybe around 4 a.m. and very cold. There you are, standing alone near the tiny river in a spot of grass, covered in a thickening frost. You seem sober. I need to sit somewhere, I say as I approach you. Come, you say. I know a really good sitting spot. And we walk. Following the small river at the beginning of the hour of the lung, it murmurs quietly, still unfrozen. The ground is learning how to freeze, trying it out, stretching its crystalline limbs. How you seem so sober, I do not know. You have been spraying acid on your tongue all night. Maybe you are young. Maybe your beauty is a mask. It is so quiet. After the thick fuzz, thick glitch, thick wall of noise that is the venue, the quiet is a relief, a thin razor on the silent lip of being. We aren't the only ones out, but we might as well be. You take me to the spot and I sit. It is good for sitting. You were right. Some sweet view of a Scandinavian pedestrian bridge, but it is too cold to sit. You stand before me, look in my eyes, your pupils wide, a crack in the mask. Lean in toward me, your beauty seamless, except for that crack. You smell like someone's kitchen, I once knew, a packed pantry of spices and flour in the rugs. I need to keep moving, I say. Let's go, you say. And we continue to follow the river path for a while until it leads under a bridge. We stop. Across the water on the other side, I see a tree with branches covered in snow. The snow is falling from it delicately onto the carrying river. No, wait, look again, it is not snow. The tree is in bloom. It is flowers falling at the end of fall, white flowers falling onto the river. You have gone up the hill next to the bridge to piss, and time slows. All of time is just these white flowers falling. They fall so slowly. I think they are floating, like the tree's hair in the wind. Which direction? Can it be up? Can flowers float up? Is that just flying? Am I flying? Where are you? Where am I? Oslo in November. I have done too much acid. You appear behind me and I show you the tree and her flying white hair. You take my hand, it is warm, but I cannot stop staring at the tree. The white hair of the tree in endless strands approaching like time. I turn and there you are, our faces again so close in the cold, by the tiny river and the bridge and the frost of the hour of the lung, which will soon thicken into snow. I touch the side of your face, cradle it with my hand. You close your eyes, but they stay wide. You seem to me then like a child, falling asleep in my arms. I drop you. I turn away from you and start walking back to the venue. You follow. Okay. Spring. A power and the tiny buds emerging, a sweeping feeling, a becoming feeling, an absence, a portent. What will it and what does? The essence and altogether unencumbered. Little sweet mess on the face of it. The up and down, the up and down of it. To feel what an easy spring feeling feels, just fling yourself upon it. As we did there, upon it, a glance and a forward flinging. But don't forget your jacket, how cold it gets still, and the morning around it, awaiting, allocating, a bit abrading, a fine, stinging dust. I wish for a little of it, a bit of it, for it and of it, for it and in it. I wish for a bite, an bisschen, a broken, a kiss, and will you feel it? Do you feel it? Can you feel it? I give you my mess of it. I give you the wrong of it, the built palace, palatial wrong of it, but you take it, you sweep it. And what I offer back, perhaps inadequate, a kiss, a mess, a bite of it, a bit unbroken, a bit in the mouth, clamp down on it, clamp hard. I wish for you. I sit on the edge of the morning and all my wishing vanishes. And me, and me, and you. I've wished for you. I bring you, I offer you. What else? What else? All else. All else. Not enough, but you take it. I hope you do. I hope you. Inside the mess of my hoping is a seed, and in the seed is all of it, everything. It and the working reverse of it, it and the building, burning churn of it, the approximating, filing, flinging, fling of it, the pit of it, and it, will it, be it, enough of it, or no? Or no? Or not on the center of it, the seed, the pit, the whole, the worship bit and bite of it, and I just want you so bad. The so bad of it, the round bad in it, like a seed inside it, the bad inside it, so good. But I'll take my time with it. If spring has taught me anything, it is to stay a bit in the flow of it, the slow of it, the breathing wait and see of it, the precocious pin in the metal pole of it, around which you, and around which I and around which the flinging, and around which the flung. Thank you.
Thank you, Amelia. So I'm a poet and dance artist. Will be performing poems from Distance, published last year, and a couple of new ones. Tell me why. Tell me X. Tell me Z. Tell X from Y. Tell me from your heart. Tell it to my, oh my. Tell my sister word for word. Tell me squat. Nada. Nada. Yellow. Your bedtime starts soon. Tell me about the bed. Обедать. Tell my dad. Dad. 30 лет плюс подросточный возраст. Tell me about growth. Tell an oath. Tell me oatmeal. Did you out-oat me? Tell me. Mia. Me. Mia. Mia. Mir. Mourir. Say to stop. Say to go. Gold me. Say to turn gray. Today. To tell my grayish hairish. Mish. Tell me. Me. Tell me to use 3 буквы. Tell me to unuse words. Tell world from word. Reward me with some telling. Retell up to a welling. Tell me repercussion. Cushion. The life. I got into a poem once or twice, you know, and then I didn't. And then I got into a poem by someone else, and then I didn't. And then I thought I did, but I actually didn't. It was someone else, you know. And then I got other people into my poems. I dragged them in. And then they didn't fit inside my poem. Their legs or other body parts were taking them out. They couldn't stay inside a poem for too long. Dubovsky writes, I don't write about real people. Это я пишу о тех, кто живет внутри меня. А не о них самих. He says to be exact. So, whose legs were those sticking out of my poems? And if any of my legs or other extremities get into any of your poems? Skirts, you say. All my skirts are accounted for. They are right here, in the middle of dropping from an inky dropping, splat, splat, a poem. I meet you at our house. I'm your house mate. Both of us pay house Miete. Our house holds. Wir sind mittendrin. Admitting me and thee. You aren't my twin. One of us didn't watch Twin Peaks. It's a win-win at a bike's length. You pretend to have a tooth for it. It stands for many things. Then it falls. I haven't been to Sioux Falls. Untying tongue, time lies ahead. I applied for a residency in Auckland. The people there are nice. They nest. They nested me for a while after I tested them with emails. I saw this Leandro Times on the ground. There was no mailman nearby. A man asked if I liked the building of their church. A New Orleans man said they keep adjusting the truck's sign. I get tired of checking my grammar. I'm worse at checking on my grandma. People ask if I miss the country. Only that house in the former experimental household. Nowadays, Поселок Чернолес. When will I go to Schwarzwald? Later than Schwarzkopfstrasse. Something is always missing, an extra letter in the wrong place. Place this right. I'd need to go left. How long is the letter I? How lonely is the letter I? How long is the sound Q? How deep is the sound? How deep is the C? Have you seen the letter I? Did it show up? Did it show down? How long is the downtime of a downing letter I? Of a drowning letter, of a drawn letter, of a gesture of letter to the left, of a left letter to stay unattended, unended, in a long sounding ungestured letter, in a let be letter, in a let it liter, in a letter trying to tail, let in pursuing, the latter in catching, the latter at its end. Having consulted with a tailor. If blue is nowhere, out of where comes the red? If it comes, will it go? If it went, what did it underwent? If nowhere is wet, where does it rain? Here is the rhyme. Will you rhyme? Laid out, what do they lay? If these are eggs, where is the hen? If hence is to have a consequence, who is going to have hints? If it hinges on the brink, here is some ink. If the ink is red, we pick up where we left off. If off script is after kasha, will it cash off? If kasha is the mishung, is the dog's name Misha? If Misha is the uncle, who is the son? If the sun is out, where did the moon go? If the ants are orbiting the ring, is it spring? If it sprung a rainbow and a roundabout and a regenbogen, nie бойся. Im voraus, impact, implication. I am implied in this implication, in this намерение, мера, пресечение, сечь, приближение, прибавление, to come, succumbing, to welcoming. Too much of a well one can hear in a well its borders are well coming the sound. Sound bounces back, back, lash, back, stage, back, stagnieren, to stash in a stock, squish oneself in a stock, stack onto, accumulate, акупунктур, аккумулятор, зарядка, за, рядом, за, Kilans. Thank you for coming.